expect inflammatory and unhinged statements. But according to the GOP, his party, it's coming from the Democrats. Yeah. Here's a new ad they're putting out.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd.
What's Uncle Tom but for white women who disappoint other white women?
When was the last time an actor assassinated the president?
Oh, so it's coming from the left only. Well, I beg to differ. They are a little crazy over there sometimes. But look at this.
If you see somebody getting ready to throw a tomato, knock the crap out of them, would you? Seriously.
I love how the fake news is saying we're fake news, and they're specifically themselves over Pizzagate.
The reforms I'm proposing would not apply to those who are here illegally.
Yeah, charmers, all of them. So who's really setting the tone here, do you think, ladies?
Well, obviously...
Who's more unhinged?
Well, there's a lot of unhinged going around, unfortunately, but it starts from the top. When you have the President of the United States that engages in unhinged behavior, then it gives license to other people to think that the coarsening of our dialogue is okay, and it's not. And the fact that both sides aren't necessarily owning it and saying, stop this, at least some of that started to happen with the Maxine Waters rebuke of what she said. At least they did that. But my party, Republicans, have really just rolled over and decided that they'd rather just be cult-like sycophants and just ignore what Donald Trump has done and this tone that he has set. It's embarrassing and it's hypocritical.
Wasn't the first sin when he said, you lie?
Yeah, Joe Wilson. I was actually there. I worked in Capitol Hill at that time. Yeah,
it was like, that's the first time I ever heard anything quite like that.
But Republicans did rebuke him for that, at least at the time. They said that was, yeah, it was a break of decorum and it shouldn't have been done.
But I completely agree with you. The tone has to come from the top. I don't think that we have seen this type of vitriol before. I think this is uncharted territory. I think this is new. And quite frankly, I would be more comfortable with the Republican Party if they stood up, if leadership stood up and said something to this president. And I would also
they're not going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, this president not only is unhinged on Twitter, let's never forget that a woman died at that tiki torch holding rally, and he said there are good people on both sides.
Yes.
And that, for me, set the tone. That tells me that it is okay.
And yet his numbers are up amongst the Republican Party.
The tone, we saw it coming from the campaign through the election.
Yes.
That was the first time, and I think part of the reason so many people couldn't stop watching is a little bit of shock of, is this what debates are going to be about? Is this what it's like now? The thing is, I don't like it on either side, because some people will argue because of him and because of all his awful rhetoric or his policies that we must rise up and take to the streets. I agree with speaking up and screaming loudly, but I don't think it's the most...
efficient?
Not just efficient, it's not the smartest way.
Right.
It's a chess match. And this isn't something where when you say, well, they did it first, that didn't win on the playground, it's not going to win here. But you have to have a calculation down the road.
Absolutely.
I have a few things to say. The first thing is that Alex Jones' inclusion of that, I take such offense at. He is a lunatic that has had to apologize to yogurt.
Madonna doesn't speak for the Democrats.
But Trump also validated Alex Jones, unfortunately.
By appearing on the show. This is a man who had to apologize to yogurt. Again, like, he's absolutely out of his mind, and I don't like giving him any attention anywhere. I don't think he should be on ABC.
But why would the president give him attention?
I'm still speaking.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
Secondly, I am also a Republican. I don't consider myself in a cult. I don't consider myself a sycophant. I just don't suffer from Trump derangement syndrome. I'm not someone in the Republican Party that lost my mind and can't call balls and strikes like I see them. His 2 Supreme Court decisions, big wins for us. He has made decisions that I agree with. When you're talking about vitriol, I'm sorry, but my family obviously has been at the direct target of that, and I understand that as well. But as commentators, we have to call balls and strikes like we see them, because if you start turning into Trump, as some commentators in my own party have done, and you become him and you suffer from Trump derangement syndrome, everyone stops listening to each other one way or the other, and we have to be intellectually honest.
But how do you, okay, a lot of people agree with that. But my question is, then how do you speak truth to power when power has so much power in all the areas?
Legally. You do it by protesting. You do it by engaging with your civil servants. I think there is
ballot box.
And at the ballot box, it's our constitutional right to do that.
How do you fight his constant lying? For instance, he's already tainted the Mueller investigation with so many lies, and he's told people it's not going to be true. So when the Mueller investigation comes out and says guilty, 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 is anyone going to believe it? How do you respond to that sort of lying and mendacity?
Right, with truth. And the other thing is, right now you have Republicans in every branch of the government, and in order for it to be a little more balanced, people should be looking to the midterms. And if you're moderate or you typically, you know, swing to the right a little bit, maybe you look and say, for this to be more of a conversation to push back, we need to have one part of this government represented by Democrats. They don't have power right now.
Well, but if Democrats continue to act like that, what we just saw, then that doesn't make any.
Well, not like that. Tara? What's your advice?
You have to come back with facts and act rationally, not so emotionally with things, because emotion begets emotion in ways that I think become very dangerous and counterproductive. You know, the words that the Democrats are using, and like what Maxine Waters was doing, what Samantha Bee did, like those things just elevate the ugliness. You know, what did Michelle Obama say? When they go low, you go high. And I think if Democrats did that, they wouldn't, you know,
say when they go low, we should go lower. But Tara, we've been talking all week on the show about what Maxine Waters said.
Right.
And the problem right now is, for me, even when I want to meet in the middle, which I concede on the middle on this show often, and I don't understand the idea that for a swath of the Democratic Party, it is now socially acceptable to go up to someone who works in the White House, which includes people in my family, as I've said, and harass them in public.
Crazy.
That could escalate easily.
Crazy.
Again,
it's dangerous.
Steve Scalise, Gabby Giffords, if we are learning nothing, it is a dangerous world out there, and that messaging from Democrats is not going to fly in.
Look, absolutely not. And that emboldens the other side, too.
Harassment is
I'm using Maxine Waters' words, harassment.
Harassment is
She said
inappropriate.
harassment.
But I do believe that we can never forget that it is our constitutional right to speak up, to speak out, and to protest. It is our constitutional right to meet with our public servants.
I'm not saying protesting. There's a difference between protesting and harassment. Coming to a mob and coming up to a group of people, if you're again, it could possibly be me, as I've said the entire week.
Yes.
Going to a restaurant and being harassed. The words Maxine Waters used. It should not be socially acceptable. I thought it was also illegal to harass people in this country.
She did not say anybody should be harmed.
She said harassment.
She did say harass.
Harassment means we disagree with you, we don't like your policies.
Harassment is never appropriate, and yes, harassment is illegal. However, protest peacefully, speaking your mind, speaking your voice is not illegal, and in fact, it is our right.
Okay, I gotta go. We'll be right back with more Hot Topics.
Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.